In this video, I'm going to be unboxing the Moza HGP shifter. Moza have sent this over for me to unbox and review. I don't really know too much about shifters. I use a shifter in my real car. I've never really used a shifter sim racing, definitely not on my rigs anyway. But I'm told that this is very immersive. I'm told that when you're driving stick shift manual cars, you really should be using a shifter in sim racing. So we're going to open it up and I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on what it feels like, what it kind of the quality seems to be, and later on we're actually going to put it on the rig and test it out. So let's open the box. Moza sent me over a few things like the Moza R5 bundle, which has actually recently received a price cut I saw on Twitter. So I'll put that up somewhere here, but the Moza R5 bundle has had a price cut, and that is something that I have unboxed and reviewed fully on this channel. So good to see an actual price cut actually in sim racing. When I reviewed the Moza R5 bundle, it basically seemed to be the most accessible way into PC sim racing at a direct drive level quality. So interesting. Right, so I've just opened this up, polystyrene stuff, and we've got what looks to be a gear knob here. Oh, very spherical ball, as we can see. Now I meant it looks a little bit like the Death Star. Look at this. Look, it's like the Death Star. Look at it. It's like I sensed a great disturbance in the force. Right, I'm going to guess that screws on to the gear stick. I'm going to put that here in the background. Let's see what else we've got in here. So in this one, we've got spanners and what look to be M5 bolts. Quite a few bolts there actually. I wonder if they give you the bolts to bolt this onto your rig. And here we've got a USB cable, which is a standard like USB-B, I think it is, upload cable. So we'll put those down here. Right, now I have something sticking out of the box. Look at this. Sticking out of the box. I'm going to take it out. Oh, it's like Thor's hammer. Look at this. Bosh. Does it hurt? Oh, solid. Right, let's take this out. Here we go. This is the actual shifter. And I don't really know what to expect here because I don't really use shifters. As in like stick shifters. I use manual shifters obviously. But what is the sensation going to be like in changing it? Like, how does it work with... Because obviously in a car, you have to put your clutch in. Right, I'm going to screw... I'm going to guess this is how it works. If it doesn't, if you're screaming at your phone or your TV screen like, no, what are you doing? Bruh. Look at this. Screwing like a pro. Okay, quite satisfying. Right, so in terms of the unit itself, now assembled... The materials feel very similar to the Moza R5 stuff, which is to say, it feels very good quality and it feels very heavy. So the heavy is either going to be a plus or a con for you, depending on whether you like it being reassuring or whether it's just too heavy. But it's definitely solid, heavy, and it's very kind of feels like good quality metal. There is no plastic here. Like, if you don't like plastic, then you're in with this sort of stuff. So how does it feel to shift? It's very clicky. It's very like, I can imagine it being very satisfying to. It's like, and we got it's an 8-speed gearbox, right? Because there's 7. I don't know if you can see here, but there's I'm not very good at this, am I? There's 7 gears and a reverse gear. Funny story. I once rented a car. And I had no idea how to get it into reverse. I was on holiday. So I was halfway through a 3-point turn in like a foreign country. And I was like, hang on, I don't actually know how to reverse it. It was a really weird... It wasn't a normal reversing. It was really weird. So I was Googling it. People were like queuing up. The locals were getting angry. And eventually I think we just pushed it round. And then I found out how to do it. It was all very embarrassing. But now I can be embarrassed in the comfort of my own home. So there we go. So that's the... shifter stuff. Now in terms of the connections, we have these Allen key bolts at the bottom, which I think you probably not want to remove, and then we have these slots, interestingly. So these slots will give you some adjustability when you place it. Now, the way these things work on rigs is that you have arms that attach to your rig and then the shifter goes on it. I've always been a little bit skeptical about the rigidity of those sort of arms, because everything else in the rig is normally connected to each other. It's all sort of triangles for rigidity, but the arms stick out. So I do have the arm for my GT Mega Prime rig, which I'm on now, but we're probably going to put this on the GT Mega wheel stand rig, which has the Moza equipment on it. So we will see that flexibility, because this is quite... It's quite strong. To go sideways feels quite difficult. Up and down is not that bad, but then to go sideways, to get it in I can't even get it in reverse. I can't even get this in reverse. Ugh. I'm guessing you need to do something funny. Oh, I need to push it in. This is why I can't. There we go. That's in reverse. That reminds me of being on holiday. Okay, fine. But it's very, 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 very solid. I don't know how this compares to, say, the Logitech shifter for the G29 and stuff like that. So if we go back into the stuff that we left on the floor. So only 2 ports on the back, USB and the transit. Don't know what the transit is. That's an Ethernet port. But the USB one, I think, will go into the back of the Moza wheel deck, or maybe it goes into the PC directly, actually. I'm not sure. And then here, so we have our bolts. So we have in here 4 bolts. So we'll choose where to put it, and I guess that gives you that adjustability. But I can basically put it on the side of my rig now, which you can't quite see. But okay, it's a lot easier when it's like connected to something. I mean, it feels very solid. I don't know how many people like using a clutch. From a pure speed perspective, clutch and a shifter, this does give you the advantage that you cannot do in sequential gears, which I can go from like first to third. And in some cars, some really funny turbo cars, for example, that might be actually OP. That might make you faster. I don't think in Gran Turismo 7 you can do that. I think in GT Sport you might have been able to, but they might have changed it. Let me know in the comments if you're up to speed on that stuff. I know some of you will be. But if you want to drive like I have been doing on the Moza equipment in stuff like Assetto Corsa, where it's not competitive and you're just there for the thrill of driving, then 100% I can see this. Now, the other thing I want to say is I've been spending a lot of time recently in VR. Now, some of the cars, especially like the older cars, like Japanese cars, have, these manual shifters. And I can imagine the sensation of using what is this quality material shifter like this in VR to just be absolutely insane. And the fact that it's not plastic, the fact that it's not going to rattle around because it just seems to be absolutely solid, I think it's going to be great for immersion. Unfortunately, because Moza is not available on PlayStation, I won't be able to use it on PSVR 2. So I'll have to use it on PC VR, but worth thinking about when it comes to shifters. I think that's pretty much it. It's quite a simple product in the box, to be honest. Even the box itself doesn't really say much. I mean, that's it. That's all it says, So thanks to Moza for sending it over. The next video we'll get it, but this is provided for me for free, by the way. It's important that you know that. But next thing, we'll get it on the rig and we'll try it out. And yeah, it'll be interesting, hopefully, for you guys and girls to see me driving with a shifter in a sim rig, because I haven't really done that before on this channel. So it should be very, very, very interesting. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe if you did, obviously. And I'll see you in the next one.